shattering shrapnel and glittering glass. This is Gara, the glass Warframe. Gara's fractal shine hides the deadliness of her power. Her sharpened glass can rend enemies asunder and reflect enemy advances. Gara's passive gives her a 15% chance to blind enemies around her for 10 seconds anytime she casts an ability. If this passive does not proc, the chance increases by 20 until she finally does. Shattered Lash has two different effects depending on if you tap or hold the ability button. Tapping the ability button will fire a focused shard of glass at an enemy, dealing puncture damage. This shard seems to have some level of punch-through, hitting enemies behind the initial target. Holding the ability button will send out a sweeping glass blade in front of Gara, dealing slash damage instead. Targets hit by this slash are knocked down. Shattered Lash uses Gara's Pseudo-Exalted, which, as any other Exalted or Pseudo-Exalted, is fully moddable. Splinter Storm surrounds Gara with splinters of glass, dealing slash, impact, and puncture damage to enemies that get too close. Aiming at a target and recasting the ability will place Splinter Storm on that target. Gara and her allies who have Splinter Storm around them gain increased damage reduction, while enemies surrounded with Splinter Storm gain increased damage vulnerability to attacks. Along with this, allies and enemies that have Splinter Storm around them also deal damage to enemies around them. This can make Splinter Storm a very good way to protect a single ally or focus fire on a single enemy, while damaging smaller enemies around them. Spectro Rage creates a ring of mirrors that shows any enemy that enters its area the version of themselves that they despise the most. Enemies that enter the area will begin to attack the mirrors, reflecting damage back to the enemy that attacked it. Once a mirror's health has been fully depleted, they'll explode, dealing puncture, slash, and impact damage to enemies in the blast radius. Additionally, when a mirror shatters in the area of a Splinter Storm, that Splinter Storm will gain half that damage for its remaining duration. Spectre Rage is a useful ability for distracting groups of enemies from things like defense objectives and excavators.
Hey, you ever want to cosplay as the Covenant and glass a planet?
Mass Vitrify allows you to create an expanding ring of glass that encases enemies it crosses over in glass. While casting the ability, Gara will be completely invulnerable to damage. Glassed enemies become paralyzed and unable to attack, because they're encased in glass. Enemies encased in glass take increased damage and add health to the ring based on their shield and health. This glass ring prevents enemies and their attacks from entering the area inside the ring unless it can fly or lob objects. Once the ring loses its health, it shatters into glass shards, dealing slash, impact, and puncture damage to enemies. If you wish to destroy the ring early, you can simply attack it with Shattered Lash. Mazel Tov. If Splinter Storm is active when the ring is destroyed, Splinter Storm gains 50% of the damage for the remaining duration. Along with this, casting Mass Vitrify will refresh the duration of Splinter Storm on Gara. Then you can cast Mass Vitrify, apply Splinter Storm, destroy the ring with Shattered Lash, and recast Mass Vitrify to gain a full duration Enhanced Splinter Storm. Not super necessary at lower levels, but good to know. She is a very good frame for defending objectives in defensive missions, and a very good frame for crowd control. At rank 30, Gara has 370 HP, 370 shields, 160 armor, and 225 energy. She has a Vazarin aura slot, and 2 Madurai polarities. Gara Prime has an additional 75 health, 40 armor, and an additional Nerimon polarity. Gara's main blueprint is acquired from completing the quest Saya's Vigil, which is necessary to get to Mars. Her other blueprints are acquired through the Eidolon Plains bounties in the open world. Her chassis from level 5 to 15, systems from 10 to 30, and her neuroptics from 20 to 40. Now I think it's time to see her in action one last time. Glass can be broken, Tenem. You cannot.